Hi, Alex Smith, Guitar Medic, breathing new life into old guitars. A lot of projects going on lately. Today we're going to do a bass guitar. It's a mid-80s Fender Jazz Bass. And it's got a little life in it. Frets are a little bit dirty. They're a little bit corroded. The body just needs to be cleaned up a little bit. The owner said that there was no real problems with electronics or anything, but we are going to check that out. So doing an overview on this guitar, I'm going to basically do a fret polish, detail the instrument, and then we're going to do neck adjustments with the truss rod because the action's extremely high, and bridge adjustments, check intonation, and then get the height down so that it plays a lot better and it's a little bit easier for the user to get good sound out of it. So I'm going to take the strings off of this right away. They are brand new. The owner put them on just recently, so we are going to use them. I'm just going to set them aside. I'm going to be right back. I just want to get some tools and stuff like that set up, and then we're going to tape off the fretboard and get going on doing the fret job. So here we go with a left-handed mid-80s Fender Jazz Bass. Okay, we're going to release the strings on this Jazz Bass from the mid-80s. We're just going to set them aside because we're going to reuse them. Bass strings are a little bit different than guitar strings. They do last a lot longer. They're huge cables. So we're going to just take those off, set them aside. And then what we're going to do is we're going to prepare the fretboard so that we can polish the frets. And what we're going to do is just use some of this tape here and tape off the fretboard because we only want to work on the frets. We don't want to work on the fretboard. And with a glossy neck like this, to take any type of an abrasive to it would probably destroy it. So we're just going to lay those strings out of the way. They're conveniently out of the way. We've got our neck support here, and what we're going to do is take this tape and start taping off just the fretboard. Now I've shown you this in a bunch of other videos, but I'm going to continue to show you just quick here in case you haven't seen any of my other videos. You want to get right up against that fret wire and protect the maple neck underneath it. And you want to go and do this all the way up and down both sides of the fret wire on the neck, and just like this. Leave a little hanging over so that you can put a piece of tape and secure the edge later, and I will show you that when we're done taping this all off. The reason why I'm doing this is we're going to be taking what's called micro mesh. It is a fabric-backed abrasive, and we're going to go across all these frets and just clean them up a little bit. Up in the upper register near the body, there's a lot of corrosion because it hasn't been played much in those areas, and we're just going to clean that up. So I'm going to do one more here. I show you how to do this again also in a lot of other videos, so I don't want to waste your time on it. I just want to show you a little bit here quick, and then I'll go off camera and I'll do this and prepare it all and explain it to you again later. So basically this is how you want to cover up a fret. Press it into place, make sure that everything's secure and right up against the fret wire. Especially on these maple necks, you do not want to allow anything to show, because once the abrasive hits, it'll take that finish right off, and then you're going to end up having with really ugly dark spots from dirt getting into the wood. So I'm going to go off camera, finish taping this all off, and then I'll show you how to do a fret polish on a bass. Be right back. Alright, what we're looking at here is a completely taped off fretboard. The only thing that's exposed now are the fret wires. With these old maple necks, you got to be very careful. I'm using tape that I got out of a online store for taping off car paint jobs and stuff like that. It's really durable, but it comes off really easy. You don't ever want to wrap this around. This is actually wrapped and taped to the block. It doesn't actually wrap around the neck. We want to make sure that when we take this tape off that we're not losing finish. Okay, so I'm using more expensive tape. That's vinyl, not this paper-backed adhesive tape. So we've got it all taped off. We've got our neck supported. We've got everything secured here, and I just use these papers so that we don't scratch the finish of the guitar. The last thing you want to do when you're doing this for yourself or a friend is actually do more damage. And I did take the thumb rest off because that was going to get in the way, and I don't want that to actually, while I'm hitting it with the pad, I don't want to hit that, go through the paper, and then scratch that. Pretty sure the owner would not be happy. So we're going to start going through the micro mesh. I'll show you a couple of these. It's just a fabric backed, like sandpaper. And what we do is we're going to wrap that around. Find kind of a clean spot. I'm going to order up some new stuff because this is getting pretty beat. But you want to wrap it around the pad. And then we're just going to do a flapping motion, and we're going to get rid of all the corrosion on these fret wires. We're starting at 1500, which is very abrasive, so be very careful. It's going to be very aggressive. Just go ahead and flap back and forth, and that'll take all that corrosion right off of there. Okay, on to the next one. We're going to 1800. Same process through all these different micro meshes. Flap it. This isn't going to be anything like a fret level recrown or anything like that, so you can be a little bit more aggressive in certain areas than others. And it's not going to hurt anything, we're just polishing. Next, 2400. Now this guitar's got to be mid-80s, so it's at least 25, maybe pushing 30 years old. It's definitely seen some use. You can, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but there are dings and dents in here that the owner wasn't too worried about. He didn't have any fret buzz, so we're going to polish these up the best we can, get them to look good, and should breathe another 25 years into this guitar. Look better, play better. Next one, 36, and now we're really getting into the polishing aspect. This isn't very abrasive anymore. Obviously, if you brought it to a finish, like a lacquer finish or something, it would definitely do some scratching, but for metal it does really good for polishing. Kind of lean over a little bit too and get those edges. Now the first couple, it took us a little bit to get through all that corrosion. Now we're just zipping through all the different levels of micro mesh here. And we can see that vinyl tape is really holding up good. That's why we used it. If you use this paper back, it has a tendency to get chewed up pretty quick. So if you're going to do this or you're thinking about getting into the business of doing this, just spend the extra money and get the vinyl tape because it really protects the wood very good. You'll never have any problems with it. Nothing's peeling up. The frets are starting to look really good now. Second to last, we're on 8000 grit here. Find a good spot. Now I'm going to hit it on the flat. Go like this. Just kind of move it around. You don't have to follow any grain because we're dealing with metal, not wood. And that'll just get them tops just a little bit more. And then the last one will be 12,000. Now if you really want to go over and above and make this look extremely good, we can go with like a cream type polish like Mother's or something like that for doing like magnesium, aluminum, brass. But these are turning out pretty good. With the dings and everything, we're not looking for perfection. We're just getting it to be a usable, non-closet classic. So 12,000 grit here, and then we're going to try and peel that tape off. And then we'll detail the guitar body up. Detail the neck. Put the strings back on it. Then we'll get into some neck adjustments. And then we'll check intonation and make sure that the bridge is going good. So here we go. We've got the frets polished. Now we want to take this off very carefully. Now you don't want to just rip this off because that's when you're going to start to lose finish. You want to just peel this back very gently, very cautiously. Make sure that nothing's coming off with the tape. We're looking really good here. Some of these older Fender guitars that have the maple fretboards, you can start to pull finish. And it's not a flaw from the manufacturer, it's just after age and playing, sometimes that finish, especially on the basses, gets pretty beat up. We're looking really good here. Very carefully. You don't want to pull up, pull back on it. Peel it off nice and clean. Little dirt spot there, no big deal. I got a little scared. If that was unprotected, I would have just ruined the neck. So okay, tape is off. Just going to set that aside. Now, if we can, let's just take a look at what happened here. We had a lot of corrosion up here, and now we've got a nice shiny fretboard, nice shiny frets, and we've breathed some life back into this bass. I think the owner's going to be very happy. So off camera, what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to hand polish the guitar neck, get the body cleaned up, put the thumb rest back on, and then I'll get it all strung up off camera, and then we'll start going through what we need to do for neck adjustments and bridge adjustments, and we'll get this bass up and running. So give me a minute to reorganize here, and I'll be right back. Alright, we're back here. We've got the neck detailed, we've got the fret job done, I put the strings back in place. Now, when I started this project, the neck had a very extreme forward bow. Okay? To get rid of that, what we're going to do to counteract that bow is we're going to tighten the truss rod at the headstock. Now it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So as you're looking at the headstock from this angle, we're going to tighten that rod. And you can see here possibly on the camera that just by pushing on the headstock, okay, it's going to pull that neck back. Okay, these do have a lot of flex. There's not a lot to them. They seem kind of beefy, but they're really not. So you got to be very careful here. You don't want to over tighten the truss rod. You want to go a little bit by a little bit, maybe an eighth a turn or so, no more. And then you just want to kind of come down at eye level, and just make sure by looking down the fret wire and down the side of the neck if you're straight or not. We still have a slight bow, so I'm going to go forward again about an eighth of a turn, and I'm going to look at it again. Okay, now I've got just about a slight hump here. You're probably not going to see that on the camera, but if you look from here at the headstock down the side of the neck, you can see it. Now that I've got a slight back bow, I'm going to use my new snark tuner. Trying new products, and these snarks are pretty cool. You just stick them on the headstock, clamp them on, and go. And we're going to go to 440 pitch, which is a concert E. Do the A string next. Snark's not picking that one up. It's got it now. That one's a loosey-goosey. Bring that up to a D. Snark's not working too good here. Works great on guitars though, I gotta be honest with you. And it might just be because this is eating some of the vibrations black. So we're basically up to pitch here, and what I want to do is just take a look down that fretboard. Just did a quick look down this. We're still straight and we're up to tension. Okay, now what we've done here is we've done the truss rod adjustment, we've done all the cleaning and everything. The action's actually sitting a lot lower already, but I've noticed on the bridge that it's going to need a lot of adjustments. It doesn't have any radius to the neck or anything like that, so let me, we're up to tune and everything. All we got left to do on this is bridge adjustments, and this thing will be like brand new. So let me take care of a couple of things here and reposition this, because we're going to start working on the bridge and getting intonation set and height adjustment on strings set, and we'll finish this project up. Alright, one of our final steps here, we need to make sure that the bridge is set up properly. We're going to do a couple of things. We want to make sure that the saddles are in the proper distance, setting intonation to get all the notes on the neck proper. If these are too far back or too far forward, you will be in tune on your open at the nut, and at the 12th fret things are going to start to go awry. So we're going to check that. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's the same as doing a guitar, except we're doing bass strings. I was going to do this all with my Snark tuner, but this is more geared for a guitar, and for some odd reason it's not really hitting that low E. It's a great tool. I don't want to diss this at all. You can have one of these for like $10, and you can have one on every guitar. It's just so convenient, so cool. It's a really great tool. I have one. All my friends are getting them. I've seen pros use them, so I don't want to show any disrespect to that tool. The Boss tuner, though, I love this because it's got a huge dial and it picks up everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit all the strings in their open position and make sure that they're in tune, in proper pitch. Then we'll put a finger down on the 12th fret and see what we've got. So we're going to start with the big fat E string. And it floats around a little bit, but it's there. So we're going to very gently hit the 12th fret. And we are a little bit sharp. So what we're going to do then is we're going to move this saddle back a little bit. Now bass strings are pretty thick, so I'm going to release a little bit of tension on that. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to screw in, which pulls that piece back, and then we're going to tune it back up. Okay, we're hovering right around E. Let's try the 12th fret. Still a little bit sharp. And just pull it back just a little bit. Right on. Still a little sharp. Let's pull that back just again. 12th fret. Again, a little bit more. I'm used to doing guitars, so what ends up happening is the scale length's a lot longer. I'm making smaller moves, and I should be making a little bit more heavy moves. We're hovering right around E. I'm going to call that a good deal. Go to A. little sharp there, no big deal. I am going to pull that one back just slightly. Perfect. Go to the D. That's close enough for me. That's right on. And G. That one goes flat, so we're going to push that one forward a little bit. Push that forward a little bit more. Oops, wrong switch. Still slightly off. It's close, but not going to hurt us to make a little bit of a move right now to get better performance later. So. Okay, our intonation's on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug this, get this out of the way. The only last thing you want to do, and this is just for comfort of play and performance on the fretboard, we know we've got the neck straight from the truss strut adjustment. We know our intonation is on. We've just set that. The last thing you want to do is just make sure that you keep the radius of the neck. And the way you do that is you look down from the headstock, and you just make sure that this isn't just flat. And these are basically just flat. You want a nice gentle arc. I think these have a 9.5 inch radius. I could be wrong, but if it has a 12 inch radius or whatever, you can accommodate that by just using the 2 screws on the tops of each one of these intonation pieces. You want to always make sure that these pieces stay level. So I'm going to look and see where we're at. Okay, so I can bring this one down, so I'm going to tighten the screws, and I'm just going to loosen the screws to drop that down. And you want to make sure that no matter what you do, you keep that block level, and that'll drop that action of that individual string. And again, I'm going to look and make sure that everything's going good. I'm going to leave that one right there. And again, basses are different. The strings are a lot bigger, so you need to have a little bit more clearance for the vibration of the string. A guitar doesn't have a lot of movement on the string compared to a bass, so you can get the action extremely tight to the fretboard. You want to get it as close as you can without having it actually rattle on the frets or give you fret buzz. And now that I've got this, I can kind of just see the others and see how we're going. I'm going to drop the E down a little bit, big E. Of course, this is going to knock you out of tune a little bit. You'll have to retune again. I can bring that down just a little bit. Actually, I can bring it down just a little bit more. I'm not going to go crazy here. Okay, now that I've moved the ends down, I'm going to check the centers and see how they look radius-wise. And it really does look good. By moving these two down, I've improved the action on the outer 2 strings. They still seem to be a little bit high, but I bet you I've cut the action, and when I say action, I mean the height from the string to the neck. By doing the truss rod adjustment and that adjustment, I've probably dropped it in half from what it used to be. So, there it is. Mid-80s Fender Jazz Bass, intonated, fret polished. It's seen some good use, and it's ready to go for some more use. Hopefully the owner of this guitar will play it, cherish it, and if he ever has any issues, bring it back, because I really did enjoy working on it. I think it turned out great. If you'd like to learn any more about doing setups on guitars, basses, check out some of my videos on YouTube, or check out www.axmaxtremolo.com. If you haven't become a member yet of that website, please do so. There's great content on there for doing neck work, fret jobs, wiring up guitars from scratch. There's just a mountain of knowledge there for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope to see you at my website, and good luck with your project.